So I've been told that I do not have as rich of an understanding of the care and feeding of babies as I may have originally thought. But I do know fucking crazy when I see it. And it is fucking crazy.
You know him, you love him. He's...
In a recent appearance on Australian television, pink-haired, self-described sex educator Deanne Carson.
Now let's be fair. I am not entirely sure what the color of her hair has to do with this.
Said that parents should ask babies for their consent before changing their diapers.
Huh?
The intent, she said, is to foster a culture of consent for babies who would be, of course, in deep trouble if they actually needed to supply consent for anything.
Yeah, they'd be in deep shit, all right.
That's obviously crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it won't happen or become the law in this country. And so to check on what the future is going to look like, we bring, as always, our liberal Sherpa, Kathy Aru, to join us. She's the founding publisher of Catalina Magazine. Kathy, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, Kathy, you're welcome on my show anytime you want.
So, consent for diaper changing from babies. This raises, leaving aside whether it's a good idea, it raises the obvious practical question.
Yeah.
How would a baby give consent?
It's a good question. I imagine it would probably look something like...
Well, the idea isn't exactly, the baby's not exactly going to say yes or no, but she's saying give the baby a few moments, talk to the baby, say, is it okay, I'm going to change your nappy, because she's Australian, so that's how they say diapers.
Yes.
Can I
You
change your
wouldn't say
nappy?
that to an American baby.
I don't think the
confused.
American baby would understand.
No, I've actually done this. If you say I'm going to change your nappy to an American diaper, they're like, what in the fuck are you even talking about? Man, we ain't eating. There's no napkins around here.
But it's actually just teaching consent, what consent is. It's teaching bodily autonomy. It's teaching, hey, I'm not going to touch your body if you don't want me to. It's just like talking to a baby about anything. Mommy loves you, daddy loves you.
It's not really talking to the baby. You're kind of informing the baby of things. To talk to somebody, they need to be able to speak back.
So people talk to babies all the time, so why wouldn't the concept of talking to a baby while doing something so serious as, you know, changing a diaper be so ridiculous?
I mean... I don't know. Like, I think she's giving a degree of seriousness to changing a diaper of a baby that doesn't exactly apply. I think she's overdoing the seriousness. Or underdoing it, one or the other.
Sounds
because
quite
you
normal.
don't typically expect a baby to respond in a way that you can understand. Again, how do you know what consent looks like? So let's just do a little role-playing, if we could.
Oh, shit. Tucker's getting into it now.
You be the baby,
I'm the
I be
baby.
the parent.
Okay, and you're changing
and
my
I
diaper.
say...
Well, he's not changing your diaper yet. You need to give consent first.
I'm going to make this change. And you, how do you...
Jesus Christ, Tucker, is that how you talk to babies? I'm going to make this change. What the fuck you think about that?
express your consent or lack of consent for that?
Well, if I start crying, something's wrong.
Yeah, you guys shit in your diapers. That's what's wrong.
So you probably don't want to do anything at that moment because you wouldn't want to make diaper changing something that goes along with crying.
But dirty diaper is like one of the 3 things that makes babies cry, so...
You would probably want me to be in a healthy state of mind so that in the future, when it comes to those private things, I'd be in a healthy state of mind. I'd be a well-adjusted adult. So a well-adjusted baby would be a well-adjusted adult.
I don't know, man. I don't really think well-adjusted babies really create well-adjusted adults. I think babies kind of become adults, and the adjustedness therein is all things that happen after babies are done being babies, when they begin to learn things and, like, cease to be babies. I think that's where all the adjustment kind of comes from. Babies are just kind of fucking there. Right? Like, I don't know, maybe you guys talk to your babies and maybe your babies talk back, but if that happens, you should probably see somebody.
Maybe the child's crying because his diaper is dirty.
Right, obviously, yeah. So, I mean, the parent would have to be the best judge of that, but...
I think as a parent, your best judgment is to change the dirty baby, clean the baby up, pretty much whether or not the baby wants it or not. Because most babies I know like having shit all over them one way or another. That's why they eat so messy. So...
I guess if you would make me cry, if you asked me if I wanted you to and then I started crying, then maybe you should get a hint. Take the hint.
And not change you?
Would it be like an eye gesture? Like, I mean, you're a mom. Do your kids... I mean, can you read their facial expressions and know that they're saying what they're saying?
It's super healthy. Erickson said, an expert, a baby expert, that from 0 to 2 are the trust years. So during these trust years, you want the baby to trust you.
Babies don't really have a choice in the whole trust arena. They can't really do anything but lay there and cry. So they really don't have much choice but to trust, at least to some degree.
So there's nothing wrong with talking to a baby and those situations, just teaching a baby how to trust. So this is a moment where you're teaching a baby to trust you. So I don't think the baby is expected to necessarily give consent. You're just teaching the baby to trust you.
And here's a tip. Don't hurt the baby and speak to the baby in nice tones. And there you go. Just like that, fucking trust. It's amazing how babies are. They're so trusting.
You're asking a baby for bodily. You're asking the baby to express bodily autonomy. I think that's the big point.
Right.
Here.
Babies don't. They're not super great at understanding English, in my experience of having a number of them.
But this is how they learn
maybe
English.
Other babies are more intelligent than mine were. But what if the child keeps saying no, like over a period of weeks, and you keep going in there? I'd really like to change the diaper, but the child refuses to give me consent. At some point, that becomes neglect, right?
One would think, baby in shitty diaper for weeks. That's probably neglect. Probably after a couple of days.
And also nasty.
I think it's the concept of teaching the consent, talking about it. During that moment, so many parents do not discuss it, and the babies grow up, and in the English language, they're not even used to talking about those things.
Used to talking about, what, having shit in your pants? Man, I haven't talked about having shit in my pants for a very, very long time. As I grew up, I stopped shitting in my pants. There's no longer a need for discussion on that subject because it didn't fucking happen anymore.
So the concept is teaching trust. It's trust issues.
But you don't really discuss anything with a baby. I mean, it's in the same sense.
You discuss everything with the baby.
You may talk to your dog,
I'm going to touch your arm. I'm going to put this. I'm going to put this lotion on your arm. You talk about everything. I'm going to dress you. Parents talk to babies all day long.
Yeah, really, really odd fucking... You're talking at babies. You don't talk to babies. You talk to other people, and they talk back to you. You talk at babies because babies don't talk to you. You're not having a conversation when you're saying things at a baby. What?
I'm going to cook dinner for you.
What about a polio vaccine? Should you, or
you're going to have
polio, smallpox?
Yes, you're going to get a vaccine. I mean, dead people have to give consent. That you can't give organs if you don't give consent, right? So if you have consent, even dead people can make decisions. Why can't babies?
You give the consent while you're still... The dead person isn't making decisions. You make the decisions while you're alive and can make decisions. When you've died, all the decisions you've made in life then begin to come about. But
so from birth,
dead people can make decisions? How do they do that?
Well, you have to give consent to have the organs taken after you die, so...
It's like she has no concept of time.
If you can give consent from a baby year to your death. People should always give consent if their body is going to be touched.
You understand that there are certain situations in which that shit doesn't really apply. I know everybody's gonna go, oh, you rapist. No. If I find somebody unconscious on the sidewalk, I'm probably going to touch them in some form. Hey, you alright? Or check their pulse, some such the like. I can't sit around and wait for you to not be fucked up anymore in whatever way you are and come to so that I can be like, hey, is it cool if I find out if you're alive or not? It's...
Right. So if the child says, no, I don't want, the baby indicates by crying or rolling his eyes, I don't want a polio vaccine, then you just don't get him a polio vaccine then.
I think it's the idea of discussing it with the baby. The consent, I don't think, is necessarily the issue. It's the idea.
Oh.
You're developing trust.
So even if the baby says no, no doesn't really mean no, is what you're saying.
So the consent isn't an issue because, let's be honest, who fucking cares what babies think, right? Or babies. So the consent isn't the issue, it's the discussion that's the issue. The discussion, you can't have with a fucking baby, because babies, that's the length and breadth of their discussion ability. So the whole idea is stupid then.
The baby can't talk during the diaper
Right.
years,
So with babies, no doesn't mean no. I totally get that.
Now, Tucker, you're climbing out on an awfully slippery slope there. When you say a baby's no doesn't mean no. You're dealing with a crazy person already, Tucker. You need to understand there's crazier people out there.
Where does the obedience part come in? Is there any part in the relationship with your child where the child learns to obey what you say?
You know, I'd have said at one point that, yeah, that's, but nowadays it doesn't seem like children need to obey. They're just kind of allowed to do whatever the fuck. But I think it is something that we're missing.
Or is it always kind of a give and take, a colloquy with a mute person?
This is about conversation, talking to the baby. It's conversation. It's not disciplining. These aren't the discipline years.
Bitch, you cannot have a conversation with a baby. A conversation implies that there will be reciprocity. Babies can't give that.
As child experts.
Is there a
would
point
say.
where the baby says, you know, Mom, please stop talking. You talk
Or
too
Dad,
much. Just
or
go ahead and change the diaper. I don't think most dads would go for this.
I know for a fact my dad would have never gone for this horse shit. He'd have been like, my kid can't talk to me. I'm changing his diaper. Cause there's shit in his pants.
But I mean,
okay.
whatever. Maybe Dad. I don't know. But, you know, hey,
right.
Parent, stop talking. Just go ahead and change it.
Exactly. I don't think these are the years that the baby would be able to respond, but it's just getting the concept of, I'm touching your body, you have bodily autonomy, you should always have the right to say yes or no if someone's going to touch your body, and I'm going to teach that concept right now during the trust years.
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe that's the problem with all of these idiot fucking parents. Maybe that's the problem. They discuss this shit when the baby doesn't fucking understand it, because it's easier to discuss uncomfortable topics with somebody who doesn't understand you than to actually sit down with your child and explain these things at an age where it could be fucking understood. I get it now!
Which is
I like the
0 to
concept
2.
that kids do what they're told. That's my favorite concept for kids. You just sort of do what we tell you to do.
Well, again, nowadays, Tucker, it's getting out onto a slippery slope. But I certainly understand the concept. And I think where successfully applied, I think you have good children. But this shit, man, is just... like, I don't get it. I don't understand where the whole concept comes from. I don't understand how it's supposed to be successfully applied. I think anytime you're looking to a baby to give you answers to any questions, you really need to rethink yourself a lot.